So frankly, now we have to look out for, you called it, you know it, the ultra Trumpers, the ultra maggers. You know this, you know this.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Tyler Fischer Show, episode 52. I am alive and well, and before we talk about anything, most importantly, I have a stand-up comedy special taping on May 14th in Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn, New York, so good. The failing Brooklyn, New York. Stupid Black de Blasio. Eric Adams is destroying it, but we're going to make it great again.
We're going to make it great again with my second stand-up comedy taping. I really hope that you can come. Do you live in New York City? Do you live in Brooklyn? Do you live in Queens? Do you live in Staten Island? Do you live in the Bronx? Do you live in Connecticut, the tri-state area? New Jersey?
Do you live in Jersey? Come over the bridge, take the tunnel, and come have some laughs with me. Have some laughs and we'll get overclamped.
May 14th, 7:30 p.m. and 10 o'clock, 2 shows at one of my favorite comedy clubs in the country, the Brooklyn Comedy Club, a.k.a. Old Man Hustle. You can get your tickets at tylerfischer.com. That's Fischer. It's a German spelling, yes. And the link will be right in the description there. So excited for this. These are jokes that I've been writing for 2.5 years. I filmed my last special. By the way, I have a special out online, but I put it out before I had any following at all. So I should do some kind of re-release for that or something or other. But anyhow, my comedy special is on my YouTube page. I'll link right here. I'm going to click right up here, one of these corners. Right now it will be linked. Or you can go to my stand-up area in the playlists of my YouTube page. But I put that on. I made my first comedy special for, I think, $300. I took all of the money that I made from the ticket sales and I gave it to somebody to film it. And so I made a stand-up comedy special for $0. Given it, I did edit the damn thing for like 2 months, so whatever that cost. But my point is, times are a-changing, and if you're a comedian, you can make your own special. Jeez, I mean, Mark Norman has 10 million views. Hey, comedy, oh, I'm gay, 10 million, oh. 10 million views, and he just made his own comedy special. Nobody would pick it up, and I'm not saying you're going to get 10 million views unless you're fucking making comedy. Hey, I'm gay. So anyhow, I'm so excited, and it's in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, 100 seat theater, and when it's full, it is, I think, the most magical room in New York because there is no space for those laughs to escape. The bigger the room, the more the laughs escape. I told you I think I did a show in a winery in Vegas with about a 70-foot ceiling, cavernous room. Brutal. Fucking brutal. So I'm really proud of it, too. I'm proud of it because, you know, things were like going pretty well, and then suddenly the panty hit, the great pandemic, and all the woke stuff, everything just imploded. And so the jokes that I wrote for this, prior to that, I'd go to open mics or I'd do my own shows. I had the show in Brooklyn under this little like grungy little bar, and I'd go and I'd test out the jokes and stuff. And not to say it was easy, because you still bomb a ton to develop a new set. Even a new 10 minutes could take months or a year, depending on who you are or who you aren't. But this, I don't know what it's going to be. 40 minutes, 50, I don't quite know. I developed, the first time I went out was in Central Park because everything shut down. And I almost cried after the show, literally. All the comedy clubs shut down. I had just gotten into all the hot clubs. I'm hosting at the Cellar for, hey, Mark Norman show, and at the Stand, at all these clubs. And I'm like, okay, I think I can make a career out of this. I just started making a living. And then, boom, cut off at the knees. And to perform for those, 6 months a year, you had to go to a park. You had to go to a fucking park. And I remember taking like a 90-minute subway to Central Park. I had to walk 30 minutes. I got lost. It's like 95 degrees out, and there were 15 people, and there was no microphone, and everyone had to wear a mask on, and I just screamed my jokes, and everyone, like, people were like holding babies, just like, what is this? I think you're putting my baby at risk with these triggering jokes. And I just remember going, am I done? Am I done with this? And then, lo and behold, I start performing outside at comedy clubs, and then didn't get that vaccine, so was not allowed inside. And you guys know the story. Started making all these videos, so started writing these jokes during my podcast. So, a lot of stuff is stuff I talked out here just to get off my mind, or not being able to perform in New York, so then flying off to Florida or Texas or, where else? Milwaukee. Where else did I go? Bunch of places. So it felt like a real battle to actually have to get through that and develop this act. So I'm just really excited. I'm just so excited. I'm so excited. It's who knew any of this would have happened? Who knew I would have had the means to go travel and tour and do these hours in front of you guys in all these cool venues around the country, and much more to come. I mean, we are kicking off. So I hope to see you there. And if you can't make it there, well, heck, the special's going to be on my YouTube page. Now, where have I been? That's what you're thinking. Where have I been? I'm like Seinfeld after Seinfeld. No, I'm not. Long story short, I started to get a little too busy. And there is such a thing as that. This is where you want to avoid saying things like, I made it. Here I am. I've made it. You've made it. Finally, you've made it. No, go fuck yourself. There's no such thing as making it. There's no such thing. So, a lot of great opportunities have come in, and it got to be too much. Look, I'm high in neuroticism. I am high in these two traits of my personality. I'm high in neuroticism and high in openness and creativity. Those two are not a good combination, okay? It's like, yeah, I've been studying a lot of Jordan Peterson to figure out who the hell I am. It's like, who are you? God damn it, figure out who you are. Straighten it out. Make your goddamn bed. If Amber Heard shit in your bed, it's like, you better clean it up and not be resentful. You take that turd and you internalize it. You clean it up. So, I've basically had, 4 full-blown mental breakdowns in my life. And I mean, like,
so bad, so sad, so bad and sad.
And I didn't go there this time, okay, over these last 3 weeks, but I started to see the signs of it. And I've done so much work in therapy, I understand now, like, it's so cool to understand yourself, because then you see these little flares come up, these little roadside flares, and you can go, oh, I know what that is. I know where that leads if I don't get it under control. I know where that leads if I don't get it under control. And so I started feeling those feelings like it was too much. And for me, if I take on too many things, that's been my pattern. Whenever I've gone down that dark, dark path, it's been because I have too much on my plate, and then I just shut down. And so that's why you have to know who you are, because yes, I'm #blessed to just be working at all, to be working, to be making money. But too many things were happening at once. Planning the comedy special, building up the Patreon, starting to build up a tour, hiring a manager, getting everything straightened out, and I got depressed. And nothing bad. I was still working. I was still able to work, but like it was like, I was sleeping a little later. Starting to have a lot of negative thoughts. And another thing to loop into that is dating. I really have to be careful, In the past, I've I've sort of lost myself when I get into a relationship, and that's for so many reasons. So many reasons. Childhood trauma, having a savior complex, growing up with a sick mom who felt like I had to save, had to keep alive. This stuff is so deep. So deep. And what perfect timing to watch the Johnny Depp trial, which is hilarious. It's funny, man, and I am watching it and having a good time. But brothers and sisters, we are all Johnny Depp. We are all Mr. Rogers, and we are all Johnny Depp. Those are the two extremes. Come, won't you be my neighbor? Won't you come on and be my neighbor? I think this might be George Bush. I don't know. Gotta be prudent. Gotta be my neighbor. Not gonna die. Not gonna be your neighbor. That's one end of the spectrum. And then Johnny Depp. She just said, and Miss Head just started having explosive diarrhea under my pillow. Grumpy. A grumperia, really. That's what my mom used to do that. So that's where it can go. Certain people are more susceptible to that mental breakdown, of course, but hearing Johnny Depp explain, how this is all tied into his mother, and then finding women and probably being attracted and lured into women who are like his mother. And I'm not saying he's innocent or shit. I don't know, dude. I watch it so I can do, my impression of it, which is hilarious. It's just, who wears sunglasses to a trial? You're trying to win a trial. You don't want to be wearing sunglasses. Did anyone else? I turn this thing on and I go, am I watching? Is this Blow? Is this the movie Blow? I literally, when I turn the TV on, I don't have a TV. So when I watch the clip, I go, is this the movie Blow? I go, no, this is a trial? It looks like the scene in Blow where I don't know, I think his wife is pregnant or girlfriend's pregnant, and he's got to rush to the hospital, and he's just pulling suitcases and like doing as much cocaine as he can before he leaves the house. I go, oh no, that's just Johnny Depp. He's just on the witness stand. Interesting. But interesting. Sort of. He sounds like Batman fucked Elon Musk or something. He's got that kind of deep voice with the awkward stutter. Miss Heard is very cool, Miss Heard, she was very cool until she started defecating on my bed. And it's really a defecation case. It really is. What's going on? But that guy, I really see myself in him because I've gone there before. I have gone there before. Not violent. I didn't hit anybody. I probably hit myself. In fact, yes, in high school, I have hit myself. I've definitely hit myself before. I hit myself in high school when I was in a relationship, and this woman said, I'll never forget this. Like, I was so in love with her. I took her to London. I was so in love with this girl. She was like this goddess. And then lo and behold, you listen to Jordan Peterson. He's like, yeah, you're really dating your mother. That's what's going on. You're comparing every woman to your mother. And you think that your mother's perfect. And you project that perfect ideal of a woman onto the woman you're dating. And then you find out very quickly, well, she's shitting in your bed. It's like, yeah, that's a big turd to swallow. And so that's what happened. And then this woman, she goes, well, she was a girl at the time. She said, I'll never forget it. We would tell each other we loved each other. And she goes, I don't think you love me. You don't love me. And I was so like that. Fuck. That's when the Johnny Depp came out. It was like, I'm smashing things. And I burned. Now why am I turning to Sebastian? I burned their letter of her first name. I burned an A into my arm, right? It's still there. I was going to write her whole name, but I was like, ooh, this hurts. It's really painful. Branding was a big thing when I was growing up. A lot of my friends in college, they would brand like And my brother branded a K for Keene State College in his arm, and it got all fucked up and infected. But that's what we did. We, like, yeah, bunch of privileged kids all overdosing on fucking, you know, fentanyl and heroin and burning each other and like jumping in front of the train. A friend of mine killed herself, jumped in front of a train. Suicides. Like, we were so fucked up. These privileged kids in Connecticut. So much privilege that I'm fucking 15 burning myself, like doing drugs. But so my point is that's where I could go with issues with love and all this stuff, because ultimately, you know, I thought I had this loving relationship with my parents and my mom, but I didn't, you know. I think deep down I knew the relationship with my mom was dependent on me keeping her happy and keeping her laughing. And if she didn't, I thought she was going to die. And like, that's not a joke. It's not hyperbole, Jack. Come on, man. Not a joke. Not joking around here. Come on, man. Seriously. I thought she was going to die. Right? She told me when I was a kid. She said, I'm dying. She sat my brothers and I down. And she said, I'm dying. Here's the lockbox where the stuff is. Go play. So this is, it really is life or death to me, as far as how entangled I can get with an unhealthy person. And so when this chick told me, you don't love me, it was life or death. It was like, if I don't prove to her that I love her and she understands that, she will die, I will die, everybody's gonna die. And so I branded myself. And what did that do? Abso-fucking-lutely nothing. She cheated on me in college while watching Finding Nemo, and the movie I still can't fucking watch. And then I repeated that relationship pretty much every year until I was 30 years old. So when you watch Johnny Depp, have a good time, have a laugh. You're having a laugh. But understand, this is it's a disease. It really is. You know, there's a lot of names for it. Love addiction. I don't necessarily like having a title for it. Now, I've probably told you before, I am in a 12-step program that revolves around relationships and people who have had trauma as kids and just quite literally need a program to have healthy relationships. Okay? Maybe I've told you about it before. It's changed my life. I can't say what the program name is because of,
frankly, anonymity. We call it anonymity, right? This is anonymity. Because we're so anonymous, ambiguous.
But when I hit 30 and I was in my last relationship, and it was Johnny Depp, it really was. Like, if I didn't get in that program and have a sponsor and have fellows and start to understand, like, oh, I have a sickness, you know, maybe you call it a sickness. I don't know. But it's something. It's something that is life or death. So if I didn't get out of that relationship, and my therapist looked at me, she was like, bro, you're fucked up. My therapist was Matthew McConaughey. She goes, all right. We got to get you into a special program. This cognitive behavioral therapy is just not working out for you. We got to get you in the 12 steps. You got to start doing your amends. All right. I was so fucking mad at her. I was so mad at that bitch. Yo, it's like, I don't need this shit. I got Mr. White. Come on. I got methamphetamine, yo. And then a few weeks later, I damn near crawled into that 12-step meeting. And it was just a group of men. It was like 50 men just hardened. It's like they just came back from war. And boom, you start hearing their stories. Everybody shares just like destroyed marriages and you know, all sorts of stuff. Crazy stuff. Everybody in that room was Johnny Depp or Amber Heard, and I've been to meetings with men and women, and there's no difference. Men and women share this. And it changed my life forever, especially going, oh my God, there's so many other people that have this inability to find healthy relationships. And this is for you could be in there because you need this for friendships. There's programs where it's for your family, and so I don't like to get too specific with labeling and stuff because it's kind of all the same, and it's all based on the AA 12 steps. So it's a very similar program to AA. It's all based on the AA big book, and it's just they just sort of shift things a little bit over to relationships. And so 30 years old, I'm in this woman's apartment, my ex-girlfriend, who really wasn't even my girlfriend. I call her my ex-girlfriend. She wanted nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me. And I would seek out people or be attracted to women who fucking hated me, who did not like me. Sick women who wanted nothing to do with me. And I would quite literally die for them to say, yeah, okay, yeah, I love you, or I'm into you. Like, I continued to risk my life and throw away my dreams time after time again. Then you wake up and you're 30, you go, all right, I've been doing this for 15 years, 20 years. This started when I was 10. And I'm in her apartment. Now, she had just fucked her ex-boyfriend, right? So I'm like there's nothing left of me. I really don't handle cheating well. Who does? Who does? And she said, oh, by the way, I'm having dinner with him like tomorrow. The guy she fucked, and I could not believe it. I couldn't believe it. I go, you cheated on me with this guy, and you're still going to see him. You're still going to go have dinner with him. My head nearly exploded. But forget all that. This was about me. This wasn't about her. This was about, this woman was, forget about red flags. She was like launching red spaceships, like SpaceX, every 5 seconds, like shooting them to Mars. And I'm like, oh, that's cute. Look at that. Look at the fireworks. Fucked up. That's why I think, you maybe do have to call it a disease. That's a sickness for someone to not have the self-care and self-love to go, bitch, get the fuck out my way. Move, bitch, get out the way. And then you go back to my life, to your life. No. I just pursued sicker and sicker women, but I wasn't aware of it. And I go to run out the door. Right? I gave her a kiss goodbye. I said, goodbye, I'm done. Because I just got into the program. And now I had support. And now I had people saying, like, you matter. Your feelings matter. Not to mention after 10 fucking years of having people go, you're a white piece of shit. Shut up, sit down, you don't matter. To have someone be like, your feelings are important. And you can't let somebody hurt you like this. And you deserve better. Suddenly you start gaining this support in these programs, no matter which program you're in. And I remember seeing all of these people in the program in her room. It was almost like all the chairs were set up in the 12-step meeting, but it was in her room. And they're all looking at me going, you could do this. You could leave. And I swear to God, if I didn't have that, I would be Johnny Depp right now. Forget it. And I wouldn't even have had a career. This would have gotten so bad I'd have no career. So I run out the door. She tackles me. Okay? So she tackles me. Now she's in her Amber Heard mode. I go, don't leave a grumpy on. Don't leave a grumpy in my. She pooped in my shoes. No. And then she accuses me. She goes, I thought you were going to hit me. She tackles me and then goes, when you leaned in to kiss me, I thought you were going to hit me. I thought you were going to hit me. And that's what Amber Heard was doing. Like, this is some really sick shit. And so, anyhow, relationships in my family were ruined about this relationship, okay? Somebody in my family was friends with this person, and that relationship, for the time being, is non-existent. Other family members have had partners like this. We all have. My whole fucking family. Everyone in my family has had a relationship like this, where it went so dark and so far and so extreme. So that's what I'm used to being around. And so these programs are a sense of really reparenting yourself and having people help sort of rewire your brain. And so, long story longer, because I'm dating now, I had stopped going to that program for 2 years because I didn't like the Zoom meetings. I was just so sick of Zoom, and they have these on Zoom, and I didn't go. As you know, I just locked myself in this room and made fucking videos for 2 years, and I did get my career going, and things were awesome. But as I started dating again, I realized, oh shit, I have to be in this program, because it's like being an alcoholic and being like, oh, I could just take a sip of whiskey. It's the same thing. If you're an alcoholic and you take a sip of whiskey, you are drinking again. Like, you take one sip and that's it. So for me, with dating, I didn't have my boundaries set. I didn't know, like, what am I willing to put up with? What am I willing to sacrifice? What type of person do I want? What are my non-negotiables? Like, you deserve to sort of design the relationship you want. And then you of course aren't going to get it all, and you have to make compromises and negotiate, but you absolutely should have a list of, like, these are my needs. These are non-negotiables. These are basic needs, whatever that is. Like, I'm going to date somebody who doesn't drink, right? Because maybe you're an alcoholic and you can't be around it. Or your parents were alcoholics and you can handle your booze and you don't abuse alcohol, but you can't be around someone who gets drunk, because that flips you into a fucking, tornado of emotion. And it's really important. And we don't do this. We don't, as a society, we don't teach kids to do this. Maybe if you've got a really great family, they're going to help you with this stuff, but love and sex and this stuff is beautiful and awesome, but it could be very dangerous, because you can see how a guy like Johnny Depp, you on the outside, you go, this guy has everything. He's got a movie series. He's a fucking millionaire. He's got houses everywhere. He can have sex with anyone he wants. And then you look at these videos of him just in his house smashing shit. The guy is in so much pain. So much pain. And that's part of why I want to talk about this, publicly, is because I'm susceptible to that. And then back to the having a lot of options thing, having more women take interest in you, and more dating options, and more money and more resources. Yeah, it's all great if managed properly. So, over these last few weeks, I realized, like, this could get really unmanageable. So I got back into my program. I got a sponsor, and it's like, it's not, there's nothing to be ashamed of. I used to be really ashamed of this, but it's just, dude, if you have arthritis or you have a broken leg, like, you get a cast. You don't just walk on it. You go, I have to get a cast. I have to take medicine. If you have allergies, you have to take medicine. If you have cancer, you have to take medicine. It's the same thing. It's like, this is my medicine. I do not get to live without it. And so having that 3 weeks of travel and opportunity and while I'm dating, it was like, oh, I can't do it. I can't do it without the program. And so just know, if you're out there and you relate to this and you feel these things and go, man, I keep getting into these toxic relationships and I attract people who aren't available or I'm a serial monogamous. Like, you get out of a relationship, you get right into the next one without healing or figuring anything out, and you put too much pressure on somebody else giving you validation, or you avoid relationships. That's the thing. Like, there's a big umbrella of different types of people that go into these meetings. It's not one thing. So that's why I continue to say I'm not going to put a label on it or tell you the name of the program. Just give it a Goog. You can Google it. There's 12-step programs for fucking everything, and they're amazing if you work it. That's what they say. It works if you work it. And so, I'd say I went like 50% to that dark place over the last couple weeks. And look, when I get through the woods of all this, which I already am, it's beautiful stuff. I'm finding, I'm finding intimacy with dating and connecting and all of this stuff that I just really do need in my life, but it's got to be done in a healthy way. And so I started to let my my focus go and my dreams go. I'm not naked, by the way. I don't know if you can see my legs, but I'm wearing really short shorts, so just know I'm not naked. Don't cancel me. Tyler did a naked podcast in 2022, and now he's on TV, and so he should go to jail when the new fucking misinformation czar, who gets to decide who is able to speak and who's verified, that fucking bitch. God, we'll get back to that. But I started to see everything slip. My health, my sleep, my focus. And this is not on anybody else. This is not on the person I'm dating. This is on me, right? That's a very important distinction, because you are responsible for making your own boundaries, right? Even if somebody tempts you or pressures you or seduces you into doing anything, you are responsible. And that's a big thing that you're going to learn if you ever get into a 12-step program. It's about, one thing they say is like, you keep your side of the street clean. It's a good way to think about it. If you get into any sort of conflict with somebody or fight or a breakup, whatever it is, you go, okay, this got messy. What was on my side of the street? Did I keep my side of the street clean? And it just helps you really focus on your stuff. And so again, this came down to my foundation when getting into a relationship was not strong enough. Now, fortunately, the person I'm dating is, really into self-care and self-awareness and therapy and all that stuff. So I'm also not, I don't have to hide this, I'm able to tell her like, hey, look, I let my guard down too much. I loosened my boundaries too much, and this got a little too intense, a little too quickly. And this is what I need. These are the things that I need to readjust. These are the boundaries I need to put up. This is the space I need. And it has nothing to do with you or not wanting to be around you as much. It's just I'm letting myself go. So as you could see, I didn't do my podcast for 3 weeks. I was traveling a lot and such. And but man, God, it's so scary. It's so scary if you've ever gone down that rabbit hole of darkness. And it just, to me, it's like a spiral. And then it starts compounding. And so the solution for me wasn't like, oh, I have to dissect this and figure out what's wrong with me and why these things happen and why I'm having these issues in my relationship. It was more like, just get back into the program, because the program is the solution. When you work a 12-step program, I know it sounds like, I'm not pushing this on anybody, by the way. I'm not telling anyone you have to go or you should go. That's another big part of 12 steps. You learn to not tell people what to do, because you're around so many people with so many severe issues and addictions and all sorts of things. and you don't tell them what to do. And nobody does. Everyone just shares their experience and their courage and their story. And then you get to take from that what you will. No one ever says, do this, do this, do this, right? That would make a very bad therapist if somebody shames you and goes, you need to do this, you need to stop doing this. You have to be really gentle with people. It is so hard for people to change, to make even an incremental change. You have to be really gentle. And it's so loving. And it's you know, if you're a guy or gal or whatever, especially in society, who feels like ashamed of whatever, your gender, skin color, whatever it is, you know, these could be really, really supportive places. And then, dude, I bawled the other day in a meeting. I bawled because a guy was sharing and just said, I have a lot of shame, he said. So I feel so ashamed. And I started sobbing. I cry so much in these meetings. It's actually amazing to just go and like, God, you hear people so vulnerable talking about their stories and their traumas and everything. And I started bawling, and I was like, oh my God, I feel so ashamed. I feel so ashamed of so many things. And it's like this feeling caught in my throat, that feeling like when you have to sneeze. Over these last 10 years, like having people just go, you suck, you're white, you're a man, you're oppressive, sit down, shut up. Like I just bottled it all in, and I was like, oh my God. I like to tell myself that stuff didn't get to my head, but it did. So I've been bottling this up so much. And it just all came out. And I thanked him. I was like, dude, thank you so much. Just hearing you admit that you actually feel ashamed. And it's not even like it's justified, right? It's like the shame I feel is the shame that people told me I should have. And you got to deal with that. And so for me, crying it out helped, and talking about it helped, and suing this manager is going to help. All of these things I feel ashamed about. Yeah, it's really important that you take care of yourself and heal and all that stuff. Because look, man, look at me. It's like my dreams are coming true, and I could slip back into that so quickly. It's like the pathway to that dark area is so small. A couple little things can happen and you're back there. But that's human, man. That's human. There's no I get caught up in celebrities, and I even think of them as superhuman and stuff, but they're not. You look at Will Smith, like, dude, that was all just an insecurity. I don't know, I'm saying dude so much. Dude, that was all an insecurity because his dad used to beat up his mom and he didn't do anything about it. I believe that's what happened. I think that's what I heard. And so he has this maniacal sort of desire to protect women. And then Chris Rock made fun of his wife. And I'm not saying it's justified, but it's like, but my point is, he's just a human who's suffering. And no amount of money or fame or it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And so I'm actually really happy that this happened, that I got really depressed and really fucked up over the last 3 weeks. And you know what, man? I didn't turn to alcohol. I didn't turn to drugs. I didn't turn to pornography. I turned to friends. I turned to my therapist. I talked to the person I'm dating and was open about it. And that's it. That is freedom. That is pure freedom, because you don't have to hide from it. And lo and behold, I'm out of it. I'm out of that headspace. I go to the meetings again. I got a sponsor in the program. He's going to help me with dating, with, creating boundaries. He's someone to just be there to text and go, hey, I'm upset, I'm angry. You can create this community. Okay, hate that word. But it's so important. You can't overlook this stuff. You can't do it, okay? I've made it. I just got 100. I have 100,000 followers on Instagram, something I never thought would happen. 150,000 on YouTube. I'm making a living. I'm touring. I've got a movie premiere coming out next month, and it's like I could have ruined all that already. because I'm a human being. Part elf, sure, but part human. And so hey, I'll just continue to be honest about it all, because I did feel ashamed. I felt ashamed that I fell off on the podcast and announced I was moving it to Patreon and all stuff, and I just couldn't do it. I recorded an episode and I was so depressed. I was like, I can't even put this out. But that's okay. That's great. That's great. And I will have more information on moving my podcast. Basically, a different platform reached out to us and asked if we'd move it there. So my manager and I are figuring it out. It's a really complicated time to be putting content out, because now I'm shadow banned on YouTube, and I'm banned on TikTok right now, and I'm shadow banned on Instagram. And now people are like, hey, Patreon is pulling people down. So the reason I haven't moved the podcast yet exclusively there is because we're taking a pause and taking a step back and going, okay, what's the right move? Because if we go all in on Patreon and then I'm shadow banned there or removed, it's going to suck. So we have an option to try a different platform that's very anti-censorship. So please give me a few weeks to figure that out. If you're on Patreon and you joined because the podcast was moving there, give me a minute. We'll figure it out. If you want to cancel your subscription until I find the place, that's fine. But my comedy special will be up on Patreon first, unless I've moved platforms. But you still get bonus stuff on there. And anyhow, so that's really where I'm at. And thanks for listening, and thanks for letting me share. And this country is a fucking flaming diaper right now. And so I'm back at it. Back at it. Gotta love yourself. God, jeez. Look at me. Look at old T-Bone. Just a human. This is the way to do it, Because look what happens. If you're not, I feel so bad for these celebrities. I feel so bad because they're so caught up and they can't even say who they are or what's wrong with them. Especially now, there's so much shame. Like, you get canceled for anything that comes out. I feel so lucky that this is how I've started, because it's all going to be out on the table. And you take it or leave it, baby. That's it. But I got my program. I got my therapy. I got a higher power. I have you guys, Got my dog. It's all good. It's all good. This is a scary time for everybody. A lot of unknowns right now. But the best thing you can do in a time like this is start telling the truth. Start telling the truth to yourself. Start telling the truth to your loved ones, to your God, whoever, whatever it is. It's the answer. Because, going dark, start going down that road that we've all been down. If you don't just put it out on the table, you just, hey, I'm feeling depressed, whatever it is. Call the emotions out. Put them on the table. Tell people. Get a therapist. Figure it out. And then you almost can take pride in it. That's what's happened every time. The first time, and I was so depressed, I dropped out of college. I was so embarrassed to tell anyone that I was losing my fucking mind. But when I finally got into therapy and I just was like, hey, I'm kind of losing it. That was like day one for me recovering. And then the next time it happened, it got a little easier and a little easier. And then these periods of time where I'm depressed or feeling lost or lonely or whatever it is, it gets shorter and shorter and shorter. So that's my advice to you. Prevent yourself from feeling blue. And I hope to see you at my comedy special. It's going to be so fucking fun. And I got a great manager, and we're starting a tour, and let's do it. Let's go, Brendan. Let's go, Brian. So I'll see you on May 14th if you're there. If you're not, the Terror on the Prairie movie comes out in June in Nashville. We're going to try to set up a show in Nashville. I think we might do a show in Texas as well. And then we'll start finding venues around the country to like properly go and hit all the corners and meet all you guys. And it's going to be great. So have a great week. Thanks for letting me vomit all that out. I feel better, okay? And now we can start back up weekly and be together. It's all good stuff. So have a great week. Do something nice for yourselves, and I will see you next week.